Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to the weekly Nintendo News Roundup live. Each and every Friday night, the All-In crew breaks down the week in Nintendo news. Good to see Eric.
Good to see you as well, my friend. How are
Nice
you?
mug.
Happy Friday. Oh, well, thank you very much.
Happy Friday. Eric's having some coffee out of an All-In mug. We got the new merch store. Unfortunately, does not have mugs up yet, but we got to get the mugs figured out over there
We do.
in short order. I see Danielina Hosta there in the chat. What's up, buddy? Good to
Ah,
see ya.
nice.
Shout outs to everybody hanging out with us live tonight as we break down this weekend. And it actually wound up being low key a pretty busy
Yeah.
week for news. So
Coming into the back half of the week, we were like, well, I guess it'll be an easy Friday. Nope.
yeah, actually wound up being pretty stacked. So we shouldn't lollygag too much, I suppose. So before we get into all of that news, we do have a very important matter of business to do first, Eric, as you know.
We do. As a matter of fact, one of the people that we shout out at the beginning of every news roundup and every brand new episode of All In and Nintendo Podcast is currently here in chat. We've already shouted him out. Hey, Daniel, how you doing? But we have quite a few other patrons who also need shouting out, my friend.
That's right. Big thanks to our patrons, to our wonderful friends and supporters there at patreon.com/allinpodcast. Keeping the lights on over here in All In Towers. We shout them out at the beginning of our podcast, and we want to thank them right here, right now. Starting with our Golden Banana Bunch, thank you to Rob Yapel, Sean O'Baggins, Ashton, Tim A, a.k.a. NeoPrime33, a.k.a. Nintendo Dad number 4, Phelan Ward, Bill Tucker, Marcus O'Neill, Liam D, Gamer Jason, Andrew Wilkins, Alan, hashtag Look to the Cookie, Solo, SAZ, and blah, blah, blah. Thank you to our Golden Banana Bunch. You can get a 7-day free trial to that tier and get a ton of exclusive content and a whole lot more. But moving into our Triforce tier, thank you to Josh Vaughn, the godfather of Tingle Love Tuesday, John Datfast Cummins of the Retro Logic podcast, as well as the On Topic Retro podcast, the Globetrotting Jet Setting Nintendo Hub and Sparky of the Nintendo Hub over here on YouTube, Adam Caparello of the Retro Groove podcast, Shy Guy, the other half of our Shy Guy mod squad. Thank you, Shy Guy. Danielina Hosa, who, as you mentioned, watching us live right now. Shout out to Dan. Dan and Luma, Bowza, the Keeper of the Hugs, the Don Rob, Foolish Fuji, and the Legend himself.
I got nothing clever. Uncle Randy, everybody.
Uncle Randy. Thank you, Uncle Randy. Thank you to everybody who supports us on Patreon. We love and appreciate y'all very, very much. A great way to support the show over there. And again, allin.media for all of your merch needs. There's links to that below if you want to pick up some All-In merch and support the show that way. And hey, another great way to support if you watch us here on YouTube, like, subscribe, leave comments. If you listen
Speaking of the merch, I think the episode 200 merch is still available, right, Seth?
Yeah. It is, yeah. It's still available. It's up until June, so you do have some time to grab your All-In 200 merch. But after that, it goes away forever. And don't say I didn't warn you. All right. So yeah, you can do that.
Now.
Yeah. So we'll make sure y'all. We wanted to make sure you had time to grab it. But after it's gone, man. So All-In 200 merch, yeah, still available. Allin.media. And yeah, another great way to support the show is if you listen on your audio feeds, 5-star reviews on whatever podcatcher you use really helps the show a lot. Very quick and free and easy, and gets our show in front of the people who need to see it. So thanks for doing that. But Eric, again, pretty massive news week. I think we should just kind of rip off the Band-Aid and just get straight into this stuff.
Yes, no lollygagging or finger twiddling or thumb or anything. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, Eric. I don't know about you. In life in general, I feel I'm definitely a bad news first type kind of guy. I'm definitely, let's get it out of the way. We have a lot of fun stories to get to tonight.
Bad news is just an opportunity for good news in the future.
Yeah, I hope so. We have a couple of less than fun stories to begin our show with tonight. Unfortunately, we don't talk about every single solitary batch of layoffs that happen, because if we did, we'd be talking about layoffs like literally every week,
which is depressing in its own right.
Yeah, but there are a couple of pretty significant layoffs that did happen this past week that I wanted to talk about. I think the first and probably the most widely publicized came to us from Bloomberg, who reported that the Take-Two subsidiary Private Division is shuttering both Roll7 and Intercept Games, who are the creators of the Ollie Ollie franchise and Kerbal Space Station 2, respectively. Worth noting, Roll7 in particular just won a BAFTA last year.
Yeah, for British
and,
Game of the Year.
and not,
why keep them open? It's clearly,
yeah,
clearly
clearly
excess assets.
hemorrhaging money over there. And Kerbal Space Station is also huge. And yeah, like not only that, but like the Ollie Ollie games have sold well.
Yeah,
They put out a PlayStation and PC exclusive last year called Roller Drome that sold really well.
yeah, that's a really cool looking title.
Yeah, and so it doesn't really make sense. And even the people who work there were kind of confused and taken aback by it.
Well,
It's
yeah.
really unfortunate and sad. It just seems a little bit senseless. I don't know if this is one of those like, situations like we've seen so many times where it's like, hey, like we're struggling in other areas, so we might as well like, ditch some of the cargo. But
Well,
yeah,
unfortunately, you talked about them winning a BAFTA last year, which
yeah,
unfortunately, when it comes to businesses like this, these huge AAA developers, publishers, and these companies that are doing these massive layoffs, the fact that we are seeing the AAA space of video game development and publishment essentially implode before our very eyes. Yes, they won a BAFTA last year, but what have you done for me lately? Yes, that content is good and it's already been created. So what do we still need you guys for? I'm you know, I'm not saying that's something I would do. I understand the mentality of, I don't certainly don't agree with it, but I do understand the mentality of the people making these decisions. It's like, yes, you've done very good work for us in the past. However, moving forward, we have some very big cuts we need to make because we are terrible with money, and unfortunately, you are going to become victims of that.
yeah, it's sad.
Now, we don't know if they were deep into another project. Again, we just mentioned that Roller Drome only recently just released, so I can't imagine that they were deep into another game, which is probably what made them ripe for these cuts. They were probably just finishing up with the game's patches, bug fixes, and stuff like that. So the fact that they were in that stage, presumably, we don't know if they were deep into another project, but presumably that's the only thing I can imagine that would have given Take-Two a reason to even consider this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's all speculation as to the why, but but those are the facts, and it's sad. Kerbal Space Station 2, they did say was going to continue to receive like technical support.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the closure of those studios, and I mean it's just classic like consolidation, being brought into a conglomerate like that, and it's just the sad realities, and things like this are going to continue to happen, unfortunately. So we wish everybody affected in both places the best, obviously, and hopefully they can find soft landings. And I mean, really what I would love to see is for those people to continue to get to make games and work together in some sort of new capacity. So that would be really, really great.
You know what I would like to see? I would like to see the studios and publishers behind this Triple I initiative who, like to consider themselves as having really strong fingers within the pulse of the indie game landscape. I would like to see a chunk of that initiative and a chunk of the people working there dedicate some of their time and resources to helping displaced employees from these layoffs find a job. It's like, if you're that well connected with the indie industry, who needs people. What positions need filling at some of these other studios. And there's obviously thousands and thousands of talented people out there who've been displaced over the past couple of years that are looking to help these projects. So, Triple I Initiative, a lot of really cool games coming out, but like, you guys would be the perfect people to help a lot of these displaced employees, get their feet on the ground.
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice. So just wishing them all the best. Sad news. And I've got another piece, unfortunately, in addition to all of that. Paladin Studios also announced today that they are closing their doors after 19 years. They've been in operation. Now, they're mostly known for their work in the mobile game space. But it is worth noting that they did collaborate with Nintendo on a Nintendo published Switch game called Good Job, which has seen some popularity and stuff. So they've been around for a long time, and they released a statement on their website that was like, "Hey, like we've been like the burn rate is too high. We
Yeah,
can't sustain it anymore." So sad,
it
man.
is. It is. I
So
never played Good Job. Did you?
no, I never got around to it. I always wanted to play it. I never got around to playing it, and I've heard good things. I'd always been interested in it, and
So,
it's
so you're
really.
saying that you heard they did a good job?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I've heard good things, but
That's the
it's
worst
interesting
pun I've
because
ever said.
I don't know about that. You've said worse. You've said worse.
That's fair.
But it's interesting because it's a Nintendo published, but it's still kind of like on the
Yeah.
smaller kind of
Yeah.
like indie scale, and it's like a new IP. It's not based on any other pre-existing IP. So I thought it was an interesting project. They were kind of in the early days of the Switch's life. They were doing stuff like that, like Snipper Clips is a good example.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo was publishing kind of like indie scale level things, and this was one of them. So it's sad to see this studio kind of go away, and they've been off. And it's hard to keep something alive for 19 years,
Yeah.
man.
I do wonder, you and I have talked at length about indie studios helping out bigger studios and, different indie studios that we would love to see tackle certain AAA IP and stuff like that. We have started to see Nintendo and other big name developers and publishers work with more indie studios. Obviously, Cadence of Hyrule is still probably the poster child for stuff like that. However, I do wonder about the working relationship when something like that happens, because indie development, especially when you don't have a big name publisher, is going to be vastly different to something working at Nintendo R&D1 or something. For a lot of indie studios out there, you don't necessarily have a lot of hard dates or deadlines that you have people breathing down your neck to try to meet, whereas at these AAA studios, that's exactly the case. So I'm sure it can very often be a culture clash, and very often, these indie studios wanting to work with these big companies, I'm sure they very often overpromise, and I wonder if maybe stuff like this is, kind of the long-term consequence of that.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the sales of all that stuff was, or the sales of Good Job, but I mean the stuff that they worked on in the past, like the Cut the Rope series, very very popular.
Oh, dude, I love that series. That was so fun. That's one of the
Yeah,
few mobile games I actually got.
yeah. So like they were known for that. They did a Katamari game on the phone for Apple Arcade. So I mean they've worked with big
Yeah.
publishers like Nintendo and Bandai Namco, and so yeah, it's sad. It's just more closures, man. So best of luck, and again, soft landings to everybody who works there as well and who's affected by that news.
Absolutely.
Um, but yeah, that's the getting the sort of bad news out of the way. Let's get into some good news, shall we? Let's talk
Yeah.
about some fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of indie games and indie studios, we did a side quest this week. If you're a patron, you can go ahead and check that out. We did a side quest this past week on the brand new ID at Xbox Direct that happened, showcasing a ton of, frankly, really cool and interesting independent games coming to the Green brand. Now, when it comes to stuff like this, there's always going to be a few games that are not going to be exclusive to that platform, and there were a couple notable titles from that showcase that are coming to the Red brand in the future, maybe even some content that's already available.
Yeah, so this is kind of cool. I'm gonna play some trailers. Not all of them have Switch trailers, unfortunately. So this first
Yeah.
game, Aster, does not have a Switch trailer.
Notable, this was the game that the ID at Xbox Showcase opened with.
Yes. So it did open with this on the show, and it's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah.
And
This month, as a matter of fact.
yeah, and it looks pretty cool. It looks like a neat little, kind of 3D action adventure game, and this was one of the ones that, we were able to verify is coming to Switch as well. So, yeah, looks neat. I'm definitely interested.
I am too. Yeah, we had a nice, fun conversation about this when it came to SideQuest, and again, I hope all the patrons check that out. But TLDR, I was pretty impressed with it, and I'm very excited for this to come to Switch. Now, unfortunately, we've had a couple very recent examples of games that, while they may be very good and run very well on other systems, do leave a little bit to be desired when it comes to their Switch performance. And if I were being honest, I am a little afraid that something like that may happen with this game, but I'll certainly be on the lookout for it. But I really hope that when it does come to Switch, it comes with parity when it comes to the Xbox version. And again, there you can see coming May 30th for at least the Xbox version. That's the same date as the Switch version, right?
I think it's supposed to come to everything on the same day.
Yeah.
So we should be getting it also on May 30th. So that'll be cool. I'm excited for it. I think it looks interesting. May is a stacked month.
Yeah, it is.
We've got a lot of stuff coming out in May. But it was a good way to sort of start the show, and a cool little game to come to Switch. Okay, there was a shadow drop of a pretty major update for something during the showcase, and it did also shadow drop on the Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
So let's talk about Vampire Survivors a little bit.
Notably, like the second to last game they showed off at the showcase.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, here, brand new content coming to, or I'd say coming to, brand new content available now for Vampire Survivors, a game you probably haven't heard of. It really, fizzled out after it released. But
nobody's played it.
Yeah, nobody's played it. But yes, more brand new content. Something that was much more heavily advertised was the new Operation Galuga, the new Contra content coming next week. But they surprised us by dropping like, hey, that's not it. Here's a new free update for content that's available now. Yes, the Operation Galuga stuff is paid DLC, but the content that you're seeing on our screen right now is part of a free update that got shadow dropped this past week.
Yeah, and it looks like a pretty cool update. You got like a new sort of laboratory thing. You got holiday character, little Santa. There's trains. There's a cart, in there somewhere. So yeah, notably you can immersive door opening action.
Yeah,
notably is in there. So
that's never happened in video games before, Seth.
yeah. So it looks looks fun. It's more Vampire Survivors, and free update, always good. Never goes out of style.
I do really like how the Vampire Survivors team is just so people know our game at this point. We don't actually have to advertise our game. So they're very tongue-in-cheek with their trailers at this point. I love it to death. The one they did at the Indie World Showcase and the one they did here at this, it's just super comedic and almost reminds me of like a top form Devolver Digital style trailer or something.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Another game with a confirmed Switch version, one that I'm excited for. One of my favorite things they showed at that presentation was Promise Mascot Agency from the creators of Paradise Killer. This kind of very interesting looking, like bizarre, over the top. If
you're watching the video version of this, just be warned, this game gets weird very quickly.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of taking place on this like open world island where you help these sort of like misfit mascots with various problems, ranging from something as silly as, hey, this like tofu dude can't fit through a door, to like we see like a footage in the trailer of this like weird Pinky mascot guy, who I guess
literally
is gonna
a
be
disembodied
like,
Pinky.
It's literally a Pinky. And I guess like he's gonna be your main sort of companion because he like hangs out on the back of your like in the bed of your like pickup truck at a certain point, and you can like kind of fire him like a rocket or something. It just looks fun, funny. I love Paradise Killer, and I just love like the style of the game. Looks like it's gonna have a lot of gameplay variety, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Looks like very kind of puzzle based, but still an adventure. If I had to, I haven't played it yet, obviously, but just look in the trailer, trying to go off of vibes. It gives me like Catherine meets No More Heroes kind of vibes.
Yeah, it looks cool. I'm very into it. I'm excited to find out what's actually going on, and meet some of the crazy characters and stuff. And yeah, it was exciting. It's exciting to see new stuff. It's not coming until 2025, unfortunately, but when it does, it is coming to Switch, or maybe even Switch 2 by that point.
That's fair.
So,
yeah.
Who's to say?
Who's to say? But yes, if you're into super weird games like that, yeah, that game is definitely going to have you covered. But there's one other title from this showcase that we wanted to shout out. And I mean, sometimes, guys, all you need is help.
All you need is help. Very cute looking little game from the
Yes.
makers of Pixel Junk Monsters, which they publicize quite heavily.
Yeah.
This kind of like cooperative like puzzle game where he plays these like quilted animal tetronymos.
Hmm.
Looks cute.
Yeah, obviously, you see here you have different characters who comprise different shapes. However, just configuring them into the different shapes and how you're going to do that, it doesn't appear that that is going to be the only type of gameplay or puzzles on offer.
Yeah.
If you watch the trailer, you can see these almost Mario Party-esque mini games that it looks like you're going to be able to take place in or participate in, and all kinds of different, interesting, and unique situations that your little weird quilted Tetronimo characters are going to have fun with. It looks like there's going to be a ton of variety. Looks like it could be our puzzle obsession for the next year.
Man, it just looks like a fun
Yeah.
plot like kind of puzzle co-op sort of thing, kind of frenetic, kind of just silly. If you like stuff like Overcooked or those kind of just like
Yeah.
frenetic puzzle games and stuff, you probably dig it. It's coming this fall to a bunch of stuff, but Nintendo Switch included.
Yep.
So I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to it. I do hope that there's some type of single player content. I love a good multiplayer game, but that seems like something that I would want to try to have fun with, even if we can't get a bunch of people together for a game session.
Yeah.
So I do hope that there's a little bit of single player content in there.
Yeah, I hope so too. The ID at Xbox showcase in general was quite good in terms of the games shown, and like Eric mentioned, we broke it down in detail in SideQuest, which is one of our Patreon exclusive shows where we talk about non-Nintendo stuff. So
Speaking of, episode 100 of
trial.
SideQuest is going to be next week, everyone.
Yeah, that's true. So we've been doing that for a while. Another reason to go on to Patreon, pop the free trial, and you can check it out for yourself. Next piece of news, this is pretty exciting. We got our first big look at Super Nintendo World in Universal Orlando as part of the upcoming Epic Universe expansion happening to the park. We got our first like kind of proper look. We've seen like overhead stuff and artwork and things like this, but to actually see an officially released piece of media showing the park, it feels real now.
Dude, I thought this was just going to be a couple pictures or something, just a few images, a few stock photos from Universal's like, hey, please be excited about this. No, they took us on an actual like overhead drone guided virtual tour of the park, which includes the new Donkey Kong Country attachment to Super Nintendo World. And with this obviously being in my backyard, I'm certainly, you and I absolutely need to make a trip. But if anybody comes down, let me know.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to do like an all-in meetup, like people come hang out at Super Nintendo World. Absolutely, yeah. This is gonna be certainly within that first year. Opening it still doesn't have like an actual like opening date yet. We just know 2025 right now, but. It's so exciting, and it's really cool too because it really feels like the version in Orlando is going to be kind of an ultimate version of Super Nintendo World based on the things that have been introduced to the park so far. So, for example, they show off the Yoshi ride, which is very simple. It's kind of like the kids ride. But they show that off. That's going to be at this park, and that's going to be the first time that ride has appeared in the United States. The Hollywood Park does not have that ride. So, and of course, we're still going to get the Mario Kart ride, the Toadstool Cafe, all that stuff. And then, like you said, Donkey Kong, when it opens, is going to be available right out the gate. So that's going to be really cool too. It really feels like, the best of all of those worlds.
The complete edition.
Right. Yeah.
All the DLC included.
Exactly. In fact, let me scrub here and get us to where they start talking about Donkey Kong.
It's
exciting. It's cool to see, man.
It is, and they very intentionally make a point of showing off the minecart madness ride that you're going to be able to experience at the Donkey Kong Park. And I mean, just look at that. That just looks so ridiculously cool. It is insane to me how incredibly faithful these are to the games and the way that they look in all of our favorite titles. I can't wait to go on the minecart ride myself. I can't wait to run around and see what kind of gift shops and cafes and all kinds of weirdness going on at this huge place. But yes, when the Universal Orlando version of the park opens, we're going to be able to experience all of that day one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Minecart Madness. Really nice touch to call it that, too. Like, named after the actual video
The
game
actual
level.
original level from Donkey Kong Country from 1994. Chef's kiss.
It's pretty cute. Yeah, I like that a lot. So, Super Nintendo World is always awesome. It's the thing like Orlando is the closest to me. It's easier to get there for me than it is to Hollywood. So I've been kind of waiting for this, but knowing that it really is kind of coming with all of this stuff, it really feels like there's a lot of energy going into it. So, yeah, man. I'm just looking forward to 2025. The trip is going to have to happen. The all-in meetup's going to happen. We're going to have to plan around this and make a big deal about it because it's going to be really cool.
Yes, I can't wait, man. I mean, something like this. I've been wanting a theme park for Super Mario, so Nintendo, whatever, since I was a kid.
Oh yeah,
like I've been dreaming about going to something like that since I was a kid. So finally having this coming in our backyard. Yes, I know the Tokyo one's already open. We got the Hollywood one, but down here in Universal Studios, Universal's Epic Adventure, I guess as they like to call it now, having this open really feels like, it's truly coming together.
Yeah, can't wait. Well, we don't often talk about leaks and rumors here on the show. Until they become real. When they have an actual ESRB listing, we'll talk about it. So, as you mentioned, the Burb Pioro, this sort of prolific leaker who has a 100% perfect track record, sort of teased this earlier this week with a sort of just vague picture of the Nintendo World Championship card.
Yeah, which nobody could have possibly. I mean, despite the fact that what you would immediately think to garner from that, there's no way that could have been true. There's no way Nintendo is going to be re-releasing the Nintendo World Champion card from 1990. There's just no way that was going to happen. So when Pioro posted that picture of the cards, I think there was still a lot of confusion. But yes, sure enough, that's kind of what they're doing. However, apparently with a pretty significant twist.
Yeah, it's weird. So the game is called Nintendo World Championships NES Edition.
Yeah.
The summary from the ratings rated E for mild fantasy violence and in-game purchases, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And the summary of it is, this is a collection of 2D challenges and platformer games in which players traverse through various modes, speedrun, survival, etc. Several challenges involve reaching specific points, while others prompt players to defeat small enemies or survive brief battles. Some games depict pixelated characters using small swords or arrows to strike at enemies. Enemies typically get stunned or disappear in a flash. My read on this was like, oh, this sounds like NES Remix or something.
NES Remix, yeah, exactly, yeah.
And I hope that's what it is. Like, it has not been officially announced by Nintendo yet. I imagine it's going to be announced pretty soon, if it's getting the ESRB rating, and also because it's so public. I wouldn't be shocked if we're back here next week with a reveal trailer. We'll see.
I don't know. This feels like a June shadow drop to me. I don't know. We'll probably see it before then at this point. But yeah, the NES Remix games were pretty big on the 3DS and Wii U. It took old Nintendo games and kind of broke them down into this pseudo WarioWare style gaming experience where you would play these little micro cultivated parts of classic Nintendo games, often with a pretty interesting little twist in the tale. Like you could play as Pit, but you had a super mushroom and you were super big, or something like that. But they were really cool. They were very interesting games. I had NES Remix 1+2 on the Wii U, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And I think there were a lot of people wondering why Nintendo didn't follow up with this, because it was such a fun and interesting idea that also celebrated the history of this company. I think a lot of people, myself included, have been kind of wondering where SNES Remix was. But even though this doesn't seem to be officially following in the same footsteps, you and me and a lot of other people are getting the NES Remix vibes from this, which is perfectly fine. Again, I loved both of those games.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know. Realistically, I don't know how well those games ever sold. So it could be that they were like, well, we tried it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, and again, we haven't seen footage, so we don't know. This could be a lot more straightforward than NES Remix, but it's still exciting. What I kind of hope, I don't know that this is going to happen, but my hope actually when the leak first happened, I was like, oh, maybe we're getting back the live Nintendo World Championship that they did for a couple of years in like 2019 or 2018, 2019, I think they did it.
Mm-hmm.
And bringing it back from the 90s, like I thought it was really great, and I always wish that was like a yearly thing that we could look forward to. So there's a part of me that hopes that they announce this and they say at the same time, hey, it's Summer Game Fest or whatever, we're bringing it back, so I don't know, I know nothing, but that would make me really happy. The only other detail that we really know about this, and this just comes from Puoro says this is not just a simple re-release or something of the Nintendo World Championship, like actual cart.
That wouldn't make sense at all, frankly, considering what the cart was.
Right. So that wouldn't even make any sort of sense, but that isn't what this is. It is going to be a sort of like new game based on this kind of old content, but it's also not going to be like a full $60. It sounds like he said specifically it's gonna be $30. Like he actually knows. That's the reason I think it's gonna be revealed pretty soon. Is like he knows details like the price. So I feel like they're ready to announce this thing.
We all know it's you, Doug. Just let us know, man.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, man? The track record speaks for itself. So I'm excited. This kind of came out of nowhere, and I think it does. I mean, this kind of thing is the kind of thing that you see in like the consoles last year, like
That's
this
fair.
does kind of feel like the sort of like, let's just put out fun little stuff like this. I mean, we all were there in 2016 when like we were lucky to get Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix, we were fighting for scraps, but hey, I'm all for it. If we're in the sort of like final year of the Nintendo Switch, at least the OG Nintendo Switch, then I'm happy to get small, weird little things like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, NES Remix vibes. I really enjoyed both of those titles. Yes, please more.
Yep. Well, right before we get into Star Wars Day tomorrow, May the 4th, we got a little bit of Star Wars news out of nowhere. Now, I can't say that I'm like super excited for this game, but Star Wars Hunters has been in the ether for what feels like 500 years, and it finally has a release date.
It has been the final game in the coming soon section of the Nintendo Switch eShop. It has been the game at the very bottom of the coming soon section of the Nintendo Switch eShop, genuinely, for like 3 years now.
4 years, yeah.
For actual calendar years now. But here, out of nowhere, seemingly, this honestly feels like something that we would have seen tomorrow at May the 4th, but we actually got it a little bit earlier on this week. They're finally committing to a date for this game. We're getting it apparently in June.
Yeah, I think it's June 3rd is the date. I think it's actually a month away from now. You can actually like now go onto the eShop and like kind of, it's weird. You can like pre-register to preload the free game, and this is a game, this is made by Zynga. So, this is going to have microtransactions for sure. And the sense that I sort of get is that this is going to be kind of like a
June 4th, not their June 4th.
June 4th. Yeah, June 4th. This to me feels like they're sort of like, hey, like let's do like Star Wars Fortnite, sort of thing. It looks like it's gonna be smaller scale, and I think you are actually playing as characters.
Yeah.
Like it's not, like a build your own character. I think you are playing as like, these hunters, these characters, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're really presented in like kind of like a hero shooter, somewhere between Fortnite and Apex Legends. Their own version of Overwatch. Maybe not quite at that scale, but I don't know. This game has been in development for so long. I don't know about you, but I kind of feel like the hero shooter genre is on a fairly significant downturn. Overwatch 2 hasn't performed nearly as well as the first one, and I do wonder if this game has just been in development too long for its own good.
Yeah, I mean, it's all gonna come down to if the game's good, you know.
That's true.
That's really what it comes down to. I think is just like, is this good? And to be fair, I gotta say, we get a little shot here of like the
Yeah.
heroes at the end. I gotta admit, I really like some of these. I like this little like Rhodian like goblin dude, who's just like kind of all hunched over and creepy looking. I
I love
love
the
this
fact you
little.
can play as a droidica.
Well, yeah, it's you're playing as this Ugnaught who has, I guess, commandeered a droidica chassis or something, and like you have like these two Jawas like on top of each other, like playing. I think the characters are actually really charming, like shockingly so. So I don't know. I'm kind of into it. I'm gonna at least try it. It's free to play. I'm gonna get in there and try it out. I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. If the game's good, like I'm way into the idea. I love Star Wars.
Yeah.
So, I'll give it a whirl.
I wonder if, like, I'm not super familiar with the massive extended universe of Star Wars. Admittedly, I wasn't super familiar with Thrawn until, his name was thrown around in The
Sure.
Mandalorian season 2, stuff like that. So I don't know if any of these characters are specifically famous or already established from the extended universe or from any other piece of Star Wars media. But I do hope this game succeeds. And as interesting as a lot of the new characters do initially appear, when it comes to Star Wars games, a lot of the interest, I think, for a vast majority of the Star Wars fan base is going to come down to, cool, but when can I play as Darth Vader? When can I play as Boba Fett? When can I play as Han Solo? Type thing. And I completely understand them wanting to eschew that and try to create more characters, continue to expand the universe. But I've got to imagine fairly soon after this game's launch, they're going to start to release more established characters just to kind of get more people eyes on the product.
I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. So that's coming June 4th. There's more Star Wars stuff happening on the Nintendo Switch coming into the weekend as well.
Yes!
In celebration of Star Wars Day, Aspire is holding a big old Star Wars sale right now on the eShop, so you can check that out. In addition to that, the current Nintendo Switch Online free trial is for KOTOR.
That's awesome.
Straight up.
That's awesome.
So,
a huge single-player focused campaign-style game that, I mean, if you have some time to set aside this week, you might be able to play through the entire game, but having the ability to play the entirety of one of the greatest licensed games of all time for completely free just for having a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, oh, that's tasty.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool little collab there. And you can play through it until the 9th. NSO subscribers have access to it. If you play it, of course, you'll get your 100 Nintendo Platinum points for participating. And if you want to pick it up, you can get it for 50% off. So
I mean, it's already not super expensive anyway.
No. So, I mean, you can already get it for like a pittance, So you might as well go ahead and grab it. It's cool. I like to see the Nintendo Switch having ways to celebrate Star Wars Day at all. So it's cool to see them actually kind of activate this stuff.
Yeah. I've been waiting for actual years. I really have. I really felt one of these years they were just going to drop like the Super Star Wars trilogy from Super Nintendo one May the 4th. I really felt like that was coming. So it hasn't happened yet. I'm just saying, Lucasfilm, LucasArts, you can still make that happen. Those games are pretty famous. But still, really cool couple of ways that you can celebrate a galaxy far, far away this weekend on the Nintendo Switch. However, Seth, another week, another Pokemon headline.
Yeah, a couple Pokemon headlines, as a matter of fact. We've, first of all, new wave of Squishmallows.
Oh my god, they're so cute.
Now a thing. You got Meryl, you got Dragonite, available to pre-order now. Yeah, I mean they're just really cute.
Look at the nose on Dragonite. That is the greatest thing I've ever. Look at the little tail on Meryl. That is,
It is funny how we have the image pulled up here that they shared on their social media, and like they point out like Meryl's ears, Meryl's tail, Dragonite's
Yeah.
tail, Dragonite's swing, and then his like weird, like they didn't even know what to call it, so they just put 3 exclamation points. Like Dragonite's like little, I don't even know what to call it, antlers. Like what are
Antenna?
those?
They're antenna.
Yeah, like what are those sticking out of his head? I guess
I didn't
antenna.
know that. I didn't know people didn't know what those are antenna.
I guess so. Yeah. It's just strange. Like dragons don't typically have antenna, you know. So yeah, it was just kind of funny. And yeah, so anyway, you can pre-order them now. And there, I don't believe there's a release date, but you know, the Pokemon Squishmallow collab has been very successful. Obviously, they're gonna keep doing these, and this is
Yeah.
just the latest in the wave.
Yep, still sticking with the first two gens for this, but I mean, there's still
Yeah.
plenty of Pokemon that deserve to have Squishmallows from the first two gens. I would imagine sooner rather than later we'll probably get a Squishmallow wave of like the baby Pokemon, like Igglybuff, like Cleffa, like Pichu, stuff like that. So I assume those will be coming at some point. But regardless, if you are a Squishmallow and or Pokemon fan, those genuinely I think are my favorite so far from this collaboration.
Pretty good. I only have I got Gengar and I got Snorlax.
Of course you got Gengar.
Yeah. And I will say, I'm just looking right now. Dragonite is already sold out.
Yeah.
You can still get Meryl. And these things also, they say they expect to ship the product in early June. So there you go. A little bit of a semblance of a release date there. Sounds like they'll be shipping out in about a month. You can also typically find these in stores. Like you can go to Walmart, you know, or whatever and find them. But the Pokemon Center versions do have a little special stamp on them. Little Pokeball, like Pokemon Center stamp. So if you're the type of person who cares about that, you're going to want to get it from the Pokemon Center itself. So
Yep.
very cool.
But that's not the only news about Poke merch that we have to tell you guys about today.
There's a yeah, so this is an interesting little story. Pokemon Company and DNA, who is the the mobile developer, who are sort of most known for Pokemon Go and as well as many other things, they have formed a new subsidiary as of this past week called Pokemon Card D Studio, which effectively what this is. They had a previous DNA subsidiary that they're basically just renaming, and they're basically just saying like, hey, now you are the Pokemon TCG Pocket people now. And it's still Pokemon TCG Pocket. They announced that in the previous Pokemon Presents, the Pokemon Day presentation, back in February. We still have no release date beyond it's due at some point this year. But I do think that it showcases a little bit of a dedication to that game. To say like, hey, like this is our studio that is just on this, like it's just dedicated to this. So hopefully it shows faith.
When it comes to that app, you can release something like Pokemon Sleep or the Pokemon toothbrushing app or something. That's not necessarily something that's going to need constant updates. That's not something that's going to need a ton of extra content with a huge years-long roadmap.
Right.
This app very much is. This app is going to need dedicated developers and a team continuing to work on it to add cards, functionality, and new content to it for years to come. This was something that Pokemon, when they even conceived of it, they knew was going to be a huge undertaking that was going to require a lot of resources. So it is nice to see that they are specifically dedicating an entire studio essentially toward trying to make this thing a success. I know it's something you're incredibly looking forward to, just that simple little serotonin boost of cutting the packages open.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to play it. I hope we get to see more of it soon. Release date, something. Give me something.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, we've only got another, 9 months till the next Pokemon Day?
That's true. At this point, yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully, it's supposed to come this year. That's all we know about it. But I am looking forward to it. We got a little bit of Splatoon news, which I feel like every other week we're like, hey, new Splatfest.
This is no joke. This is my favorite Splatfest I've ever seen. This one is amazing. This one is so good. The new Splatfest is going to be taking part between the weekend of May 17th this year, May 17th to May 19th, is all about what would you do if you knew the world was ending? And the choices are same old stuff, knock stuff off your bucket list, or would you try to actually save the world? This is so good. This is such an interesting question. I think so much more considered than many of the other Splatfest questions we get. Is like, oh, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite holiday mascot? This is, I think, a genuinely interesting, thought-provoking question for people. And I just love this. Also, probably my favorite key art for a Splatfest. It just seems like the little Octolings have so much personality in these pictures. I love the picture of the Octoling going after the stuff on his bucket list, like playing a Game Boy and playing guitar and just looking like they're having the time of their lives. I love this Splatfest. I've admittedly, just because there's been so much other stuff to play, I haven't been able to participate in them nearly as much as I'd wanted to. However, this one specifically, I love this so much. I'm going to really dive into this one. I genuinely don't know what my team is as well, which is another reason I think I like it so much. Is I honestly don't know where I stand on this question.
Kind of with you. Yeah, I don't think I really know where I stand on it either. Like my gut reaction is bucket list.
That's kind of my gut reaction too. Yeah, I know it's.
I also
not going to be the same old stuff. I know that's probably not going to be me.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, because to be honest, I don't really have all that much on my bucket list, much less things that are, accomplishable if the world's ending around me. Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about it. I'm also not going to try to save the day. Like, what are you talking about? Like, just like what point is there to that? But I also don't know if I'm going to do the same hole. So I don't know. I don't know where I'd go with this. I will say,
chat, let us know.
Yeah, well, yeah, let us know. And also, our Discord community is huge into Splatoon. There's always people playing Splatoon. So if you join our Discord, if you're a Splatoon fan, if you're a player, join up in the community. I guarantee you there will be people in the community. This is in 2 weekends from now. Yeah. I promise you people in the community are going to be playing.
Yeah, so we had a lot of participation for the last Splatfest, for the Easter one.
Yeah, I mean, every Splatfest, there are always people in the community that are playing, and even just like, random little pickup games. I mean, Splatoon is huge in our community, so jump on in if you're a Splatoon fan. Plenty of people playing.
Yes.
So, yeah, that again, the 17th through the 19th.
Yes.
That's happening, so.
But cool. Speaking of Nintendo Switch Online, just very quick little PSA. We're going to be getting into notable releases here momentarily, but spoiler alert, Endless Ocean Luminous did in fact release just yesterday on the Nintendo Switch as we're recording this. And to celebrate, Nintendo dropped some fun, weirdly realistic new Nintendo Switch Online avatars for people to pick up if you would so be inclined.
Yeah, if you want to have your avatar just be a very realistic fish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
why not? Right.
Knock yourself out. You can do it. There's actually a few Endless Ocean Luminous related things kind of happening. They've already detailed next week they're doing their first event dive, which is cool. They're also running a next weekend a Tetris 99 Maximus Cup themed around the game. So
little Eureka cross promotion there. I like it.
Yeah. So it's kind of neat. It's kind of cool that we're getting that. It's it feels like they're making as big of a deal as they probably could out of Endless Ocean.
Most importantly, of which after we're done streaming this tonight, we're probably going to try to set up a few multiplayer group dives tonight after we're done recording in the community. So again, you've got your event dive, but this is the most important thing, clearly.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Maybe my copy will arrive one day. Maybe that'll happen.
I'm sorry.
We'll see. Well, speaking of Endless Ocean, want to get into some notable releases before we say goodnight?
I would happily get into some notable releases because, yes, as we've just been talking about for the past couple minutes, Endless Ocean did indeed release yesterday on the Nintendo Switch, a follow-up to Nintendo's incredibly niche and, in my opinion, very underrated diving simulator franchise, which debuted back on the Nintendo Wii. It's been 15, 16 years since the last game in the franchise. You want to talk about a dead franchise, but yes, sure enough, if the idea of diving into a relatively photorealistic facsimile of this world's ocean and interacting with, yes, almost 600 different species of marine life sounds fun and interesting to you. I've got to say, I was finally able to put a couple hours into it last night, and like very quickly, it's basically just all I want to do this weekend. It really is. I've been having a ton of fun with it, and just like I actually found that ship. We just saw a ship in the trailer for the game, and I actually found that ship last night. That was one of those things where you just turn a corner and you see this huge shipwreck. It's one of those holy bleep moments, and that's one of the things I love so much about this game is just the sense of discovery, the sense of zen that you experience when you're just wading through the water, seeing just how beautiful everything is, but then those momentary just spikes of, oh my god, Endless Ocean always was really good for that with me. And I don't know, my initial reaction is incredibly positive. I may cool off on the game, but for right now, I'm very much having a honeymoon phase with Endless Ocean already, and I hope a couple people come out for the dives later on tonight.
Nice. Yeah, I hope y'all have fun in there. I'm excited to get to play with y'all at some point soon, hopefully. I'm looking forward to it. I like Endless Ocean, and I will say too, like there are a lot of people in the community to the point where I was like, well, I should probably just create a special Discord game hub for Endless Ocean, and people are sharing pictures.
Yeah, we got so many pictures. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's
so
cool.
Good.
Community's really enjoying it.
Got some legit, very good photographers in our Discord. I'm just saying. But yeah, I know Adam Caparello has already been playing a lot of it today. Adam, hopefully you can come out for some dives. I know Sparky is wanting to come out for some dives. Hopefully when your copy comes in, Seth, you can join us. I'm really, really excited. I know that there's a lot of reviews out there that have been fairly tepid on the game, but this is a game that I've been personally excited for a very long time. And again, at least the first couple hours is really throwing me back to the old days, to that original game on the Nintendo Wii. There's a couple things I wish were in the game, but I'm going to appreciate the game for what it is.
Yeah, man. Very, very cool. One of my favorite games of the year thus far also released on the Nintendo Switch this week, Before the Green Moon, now available on the Nintendo Switch. I've shown footage of my stream that I did for it, where I streamed it for several hours. It's actually going to be our indie showcase on the podcast that drops tomorrow, so lots of Before the Green Moon love going on. We're going to be giving away a copy of it in our Discord this weekend. As well, and I don't know, I love this game, and I'm happy that we've had it for a little while, thanks to the developer Turnfollow who gave us the code for it. Like a month ago or something.
Yeah.
But we, I really love it, and I'm excited for people to finally get to play it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it looks really cool. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to spend too much time with it, but again, Seth and I have a very, very good talk tomorrow in a brand new episode of All In, a Nintendo podcast, talking about this game and kind of how it brought you out of a recent funk that you've been in.
Yeah. So look forward to that. We're going to tell y'all all about Before the Green Moon. I really enjoy it. Another game that I talk about on tomorrow's episode, another game that came out this week, Surmount, which we got from our friends at Pop Agenda. Thank you to them for providing us the code for that. This is like a physics-based mountain climbing game. This is my gameplay right here. Not very good gameplay, but it is my gameplay. It is mine. This is kind of like, it's physics-based that you climb the mountains kind of one hand at a time, and you basically just fling yourself up these mountains. And it's got a lot of charm, a lot of personality, a lot of fun.
A lot of Octodad vibes from this gameplay.
A little bit, yeah. And there's a huge focus on, you'll see me do it, kind of swinging yourself and using the momentum to get up there. You made the astute observation, I think, that it kind of is a little bit like Donkey Kong King of Swing. And yeah, that kind of is what it is. They do give you a little bit of a double jump to give you a little bit of safety as well. Mm-hmm. So it's just fun. It's just a fun, charming little thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
super wacky, but I mean, sometimes that can really help with the game's fun factor. And just watching the ragdoll physics in this is just amazing. It's just the way the character is flopping around all over the place.
Yeah.
I can barely get the
Yeah.
words out.
Yeah, it's pretty silly, but I like it quite a lot. So Surmount, it's available now. It's from a small little studio too, and so you should we always like to support small dev teams. Another game that I put a video out for on the channel, a game that is very near and dear to my heart, El Shaddai HD Remaster, came out this past week. And this game, I love it. This is a game from the Xbox 360, PS3 era. They got a really good, sleek HD remaster in terms of like the just the like visual style of the game, the way that the
Which was
game kind of.
always its big selling point, frankly.
Yeah, I think so. I think that just like it's just so unique. Like taking
Yeah.
kind of biblical theming and storytelling, literally the Book of Enoch, and kind of telling it through this kind of like anime neo-noir lens, is just really cool and interesting. And again, just the visual style, the way it's always changing up genres on you. They're like, in fact, in the gameplay video that I put up on the channel, I discovered a sort of like bad, like mock, I guess an ending in quotes for the game, that I had never found before when I first played it. It's great. I love it.
Nice.
So.
Yes, and that also came out this past week on the Nintendo Switch. Very much like a cult classic from that
Big
era.
time.
El Shaddai was
time.
never really like the massive success that a lot of other 3D action adventure games were. But everybody who's played it, everybody that I've ever spoken to who played it, always had fond and very positive things to say about it.
Yep, I think so. It's I really like it personally, and it's only $30 also.
Yeah.
So you know it's not going to break the bank or anything. I will say there's a really fun little collection of games.
Yeah.
That recently.
I mean, if you don't want to spend all of your time underwater in Endless Ocean Luminous, I mean, we have another option for you to spend all of your time underwater checking out, and turns out that's Freddy Fish.
Yeah, Freddy Fish. I believe. I mean, I don't know. I think they actually made more Freddy Fish games than this, but they basically have completed like the 5-game collection of Freddy Fish, releasing. I think it was Freddy Fish like 3 and 5 or something, or 2 and 5, and now they're all on there, and you can also buy them bundled as the Freddy Fish collection. So these are kind of like old, kind of like edutainment, point and click, adventures from like the late 90s. Nostalgic. A lot of people have nostalgia for these games. These Pajama Sam, kind of in the same wheelhouse. Spy Fox,
Yep.
stuff like this. So,
yeah.
Pretty
So if
cool.
you're a fan of those old kind of kids computer point and click puzzle adventure titles, if you're a nostalgic, I mean, I am, but I never played these. But if you're nostalgic for these, you can get the collection now on the Switch eShop.
Yep, pretty cool. What else do we got this week? Oh, Plantabi Little Garden.
Is that how you pronounce that?
I think. I don't know exactly, but it's very cute. I'm gonna pull up a trailer here to show y'all. It is a sort of like gardening simulator, but it kind of has this like chunky, like these kind of like thick, chunky pixels, kind of like Game Boy Advance looking art style. Where you just propagate and grow plants in a little like room that you can organize and decorate. I'm probably gonna end up picking this up for my wife. This has her written all over it. She loves plants, and it's cheap too. I think it's $5, if not less. I think it's on a launch window discount. You can get it for like $4. So if you like games like unpacking and stuff, I think you'd probably be into it. So.
I don't know. Kind of almost to me looks like a 2D version of what was that game in the Nintendo 3DS Me Game Plaza? You know what I'm talking about?
Flower Town?
Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
it. But yeah, it's kind of what it looks like to me, and it looks like it almost even looks like you can get Squishmallows in this game.
Yeah, they have little like the thing is it's not just, plants and stuff. Like you can
Yeah.
organize and decorate your little room and stuff. So pretty cool. Yeah, I think a lot of people will probably be into that. If you're into the kind of like cozy stuff, you probably get a kick out of it. And then the last thing to shout out here is a weird the pack was this Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle Chomp Champs. Is that it?
Yeah, so the new Pac-Man Battle Royale game, if you've bought the deluxe version of it, is
Right.
available to play now. Yeah, super weird, but I mean, could be fun. I'll definitely find a little bit of time to try to check this out when the core version, when the
Right.
non-deluxe version of the game releases, because I mean it's a free to play. Like the normal version's free to play, right?
No, I think it's but it's cheap. I think it's like $20 or 30
Okay.
bucks or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is that. But if you bought the deluxe edition or whatever, you get it like a few days early. But I'm with you. I think I'm just gonna grab like the normal version and give it a shot. I really like this, like Pac-Man multiplayer stuff, the sort
Yeah.
of Pac-Man 99 stuff. I don't, I'm curious what the single player content is, if there is any.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not into it. There's I think a shy guy in our Discord was saying he's gonna pick it up, so we'll maybe have some people to play with at least.
Definitely looks like they are trying to tap into the Pac-Man Championship Edition vibes. And I mean, if that's the case, I mean, Pac-Man Championship Edition was legendary when it came out. I still love playing it to this day. So if that's kind of the vibe they're going for, that would be enough for me to, at least enjoy a few runs with it.
Yeah, $20. I just confirmed real quick. It's $20 for the normal version of the game that releases next week. So that's probably what I'll wait on as well. But it looks neat. I'm into it.
Yeah, cool. And let us know if you guys are playing that this weekend. Let us know if you're waiting until next week for the proper release of it. Let us know what you all are diving into this weekend. Reach out to us on Facebook and Twitter at All In Podcast. Make sure to join our community over in the Discord for several reasons. I mean, first of all, we have an amazing community. You can also, if you want to play Splatfest, if you want to go on dives with us, you should come on over and be part of the All In Discord community. Also, make sure if you are watching us here on YouTube to like, follow, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, all that good YouTube algorithmic stuff so you never miss another video from us here at All In. If you're watching the Twitch stream or if you are listening to the podcast version of this, mosey on over to the YouTube channel at some point to do everything I just said, because we are constantly posting new videos, new content, all kinds of stuff. But in addition to all of that, Seth, we still find time to create exclusive content for those patrons we shouted out at the top of the roundup.
We do. Yeah. Patreon.com/allinpodcast. That's the place you want to go. There's exclusive content that goes up there every single week, exclusive podcasts, early access to some of our stuff like Bit Harmony. There's actually early access to a new episode of that up there right now that just went live today. Yes, we also have merch, as Eric's holding up his polo to the camera. Allin.media. It's a great way to support the show as well if you have a few bones to throw our way. And again, if you don't have any bones to throw our way, you can also support the show for free. Drop some words on your podcatcher of choice. Leave us that review if you listen to us on the audio feed. And yeah, like Eric said, likes, comments, all that helps us out on YouTube. So we appreciate that as well. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely. And just a quick reminder, Triforce tier patrons actually get a discount on all of our brand new merch, on all of our merch, to put it bluntly, but on all the new stuff as well. So another reason to check out the Patreon, in addition to the discounts and the free trial and all the content that we've been creating. Again, SideQuest 100 is next week. But to all of those patrons who have joined us and been with us for 100 weeks now, thank you all so much for being part of this journey with us. To all of you amazing people who have dropped words on whatever podcast or video service you happen to follow our content on, to anybody who's picked up a piece of our merch either at our old store or at our brand new store, allin.media, and to anybody who has even just shared our content across this vast internet of ours, to each and every one of you, we would like to extend an incredibly introspective and luminous
as he bumps his mic.
Bump the mic.
It's all right. So yeah, namaste everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight on the news roundup. Real quick, and we talk about this a little bit tomorrow as well on the episode that goes live on your podcast feed tomorrow. I want to tell y'all right here on the show about the giveaway we're doing.
Yes!
Our friends at Hilltop Games. We are collaborating with them on a promotional thing, celebrating Lil Guardsman, which is one of our favorite games of the year. The game came out in late January. We had the developers at Play Hilltop on the show and have stayed in touch with them. They've been just very kind, good folks to us, and so they hit us up and said, hey, Lil Guardsman is going on its first big sale, which is live right now. It's also going to be taking part in Ludo Narracon next week, which is also very exciting. And so to celebrate all of this, we are giving away a copy over on our Twitter. That's at All In Podcast over there on Twitter or X or whatever. You'll see it. It's our pinned tweet. All you got to do is follow us, follow Hilltop, and repost the thing. And in addition to that, next week on the 9th, that's 6 days from today, as we sit here and record this, we're going to be holding a special live stream with the devs where I'll be playing the game, Eric will be there to commentate, and we'll have the devs there to give behind-the-scenes insight and all that fun stuff. And we're going to be drawing the winner of this giveaway there, and I've been told that we might even have some bonus giveaways for the stream as well. So who's to say? So that's going to be here on the YouTube channel next week on the 9th. Enter into the giveaway. Win yourself a free copy of Lil Guardsman. We'd love to see you. Yeah.
And even if, you listen to us and you've already bought the game and played it because of how much we praised it, still tune in. It's going to be a fun stream. We're going to have a ton of fun with the guys and, again, talk to them about a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. So even if you don't need a copy of the game, still going to be a blast.
It's going to be fun. Yeah, it's just going to be a fun stream just in general.
Sweet hangs, as you put it.
Yeah, just come out, have some sweet hangs with us and the Hilltop folks. Good folks. And yeah, of course, tomorrow we will have a brand new episode of All In and Nintendo podcast celebrating May, kicking off Mental Health Awareness Month. So we are going to be kind of in celebration of Endless Ocean as well, kind of zenning out with the top 5 Nintendo games that take place at sea. We have a nice chat about sort of mental health and, gaming ruts and burnout and things, and how to sort of combat that, how to deal with it, and and just sort of normalizing talking about it. And we of course have the Indie Showcase on Before the Green Moon, which again we are giving away a copy in our Discord as well. So join the Discord. Links to all that stuff are below. Eric's gone. Bye, Eric. He's been having internet issues and it held out this long. So, oh, hang on. Is he back? There he is. There he is. He's back. All right. So it's all right. We're wrapping up anyway. We'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.